Welcome back to another State of the USMNT. Today we're going to be talking about Berhalter's 26-man roster for the World Cup qualifiers. We're going to be breaking down how close we were to predicting the players he was going to take. And in my opinion, he surprised me on some selections. He positively surprised me, and then negatively, of course, it's Berhalter surprised me as well. So we're going to get into all that. We're going to break down this roster player by player, and I'm going to tell you what I think, whether it's a good roster, whether it's a solid competitive roster. But we're going to break it down. We're going to hash it out, and I'm thankful, I'm glad. 26-man roster, guys. I was spot on with that. I thought he would probably take between 27, 28. We hit the nail on the head. 26 players is what he's calling. Another chance to potentially book your ticket to the World Cup. It's exciting, and obviously with the type of talent we have, it's even more exciting. But yeah, let's get into this video. So there was rumors that Berhalter was going to drop his roster this past Tuesday. There was also rumors that he was going to drop at halftime during the All-Star game. That obviously didn't happen. Obviously, it got dropped right now, which is 9 in the morning here, Pacific time. I'm pretty sure East Coast it's 12. So yeah, makes a lot of sense. Players, today is the 26th. Players need to be in camp by the 30th. The first game is against El Salvador on the 2nd. Then we have another game on the 5th against Canada. And then we close off this window, this World Cup qualifier window against Honduras on the 8th. So I'm going to be looking at the list here to the right. I'm going to put it on the screen for you guys as well, so you guys can actually look at it with me. For the goalkeepers, we have Ethan Horvath, Zach Steffen, and Matt Turner. We just recently dropped a video predicting Berhalter's possible World Cup qualifier roster, and we mentioned that obviously Matt Turner, Ethan Horvath, and Zach Steffen were the go-to goalkeepers. There's no other goalkeeper, in my opinion, that can offer the same amount of level, experience, and type of play that these three guys are going to give you already. These three guys are automatic locks for this for the goalkeeper positions, and that's exactly what Berhalter did. He saw eye to eye with that, with us. Zach Steffen, Ethan Horvath, Matt Turner. I couldn't be any happier with these selections, to be honest. Let's take a look at the defenders, where I'm surprised by a couple picks here. The first one here is George Bello. Honestly, I didn't think George Bello would even sniff this roster. I didn't even think he was gonna get called up at all. I didn't think he would even get called up for the World Cup qualifiers. I genuinely didn't think that. But it seems that, Berhalter, Triple G saw something in him that he likes. I thought this position would be for Sam Vines, not a George Bello. But I'm glad to see that 19/20-year-old kid, who in my opinion is a solid technical left back, get included in here. I like the pick. It's a solid pick. John Brooks, obviously that veteran presence. Nobody else in that back line has it. So that's a lock. Jorginho Dest, obviously that lock at the right back. Mark McKenzie potentially might be that center back too that we're talking about. I think that Mark McKenzie might be that starter tagged aside with John Brooks. Don't quote me, but I'm going to make a prediction. I think Mark McKenzie here is going to be the starter at center back too, along with John Brooks. Tim Ream, I didn't expect Tim Ream to even be on this list. Not disappointed at all. As a matter of fact, the guy brings a veteran presence. He's serviceable. If you're going to play a formation where you have three center backs, you plug in a Tim Ream on the left center back position, maybe a James Sands in the middle, and then a John Brooks on the right. Who knows, right? But Tim Ream is serviceable. You could play the guy. Is up there in age, and in my opinion, just brought him in for that veteran presence that he can offer. Anthony Robinson, there's no other left back out there that is playing up to the level that Anthony Robinson currently is. So, there was no doubt about it. He was a lock at left back. Miles Robinson, I'm very excited to see him. He was a revelation for Berhalter at the Gold Cup, had that game-winning goal against Mexico. Definitely did enough at the Gold Cup to garner and cement a slot here for the World Cup qualifier roster, at least as a backup. But who knows? This guy could definitely sneak in there. He could be a surprise starter. Congratulations to Miles Robinson, man, playing for Atlanta United. Definitely deserves this call-up. James Sands is one of those players that I kind of threw in last minute into my roster, trying to predict Greg Berhalter's. It was tough, but I like his versatility. I like James Sands' versatility. The guy could play the center back role if you need him to. Right now, I'm looking at it. Berhalter did bring only 5 midfielders, but James Sands, in my opinion, can account for that 6th midfielder since he is very versatile. Swiss Army Knife can play that 6th role as well. He can play that holding mid and do it very well. So I like James Sands here. I like the selection. Like I said, could play that center back if we need him to, and can definitely play that holding mid position if Tyler Adams was to go out with an injury. DeAndre Yedlin, 64 appearances. That says it all. The veteran presence, basically another John Brooks, offers the same thing as a John Brooks, that veteran presence. We need that. Might not start at the right back position, but definitely, he's been there, done that, been through World Cup qualifier cycles, so he knows what it takes to obviously grind out these wins. And I'm excited to see DeAndre Yedlin back in the mix. Now, this next selection surprised me a lot, guys. This selection caught me by surprise when I saw it. And like I mentioned in that prediction video when we were trying to predict Berhalter's roster, I mentioned that Berhalter was potentially going to, throw a couple players in there, sprinkle in a couple players that he likes, that he has favoritism towards. And this player here, Walker Zimmerman, is one of those. Walker Zimmerman, I have nothing against him. It's just the fact that we've seen him time after time after time after time, again and again and again, and the guy just doesn't offer anything exciting. He's a big, tall, lanky towering center back with no speed, no technical ability, is nothing special in my opinion. And Berhalter continuously calls him back and back and back. I understand. He's one of those players that Berhalter definitely has confidence in and all that stuff, but we have Chris Richards here, a center back that in my opinion has the highest ceiling out of all the center backs in this group, in this center back pool that we currently have right now. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there can agree with me. Why bring a Walker Zimmerman if you already know what he offers over a Chris Richards that you could potentially get into the mix already? He's only 20, 21 years old. Granted, he's not playing right now. He doesn't have a lot of experience. He's not starting for his club. Who gives a crap? The kid is a talent. There's rumors that he might go to Hoffenheim on a potential permanent / loan deal. Who knows? And there's also a rumor that he could potentially go to Leicester City. Who knows? There's rumors, but Chris Richards is already a better prospect than a Walker Zimmerman in my opinion. And I think this is where Berhalter, this is one of the selections where Berhalter did drop the ball. I think Chris Richards, you know, having that higher ceiling than any other center back here in our center back pool, I think it was time to bring him in. You know, even if he didn't play, even if he saw maybe a couple minutes, get him used to that style of play, used to your system, used to your scheme, all that. Midfielders, he's only bringing 5, but like I said, Sands could obviously be that backup to a Tyler Adams maybe if he goes down. But our midfielders here is Kellen Acosta, solid. I mean, the guy was solid in the CNL, was solid in the Gold Cup. I definitely deserve a call up. Tyler Adams, I mean, that's our general. That guy's our starter, our lock at the holding mid position. Sebastian Lletget, I was right on that. I mean, the guy was going to be on the list whether we liked it or not. I said it in my previous video. He was going to be on the roster whether I liked it or not. And hey, here it is. Here he is making his amazing presentation. Sebastian Lletget, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I present him to you. Berhalter's favorite player of all time. Not bashing on him at all, but just doesn't seem like Berhalter gets enough of Sebastian. Anyways, let's move on. Weston McKennie, the guy's a lock. I mentioned it in my previous video. The guy is a lock. He looks good. He looks solid. He's looking like a solid, more complete midfielder when I saw him last playing for Juve in his preseason. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do for us at the World Cup qualifiers. And here's another wrench thrown into the roster. Christian Roldan. Christian Roldan, guys. Don't really know what to say. I did mention this in my previous video as well. I said that, you know, there's a couple players out there that Berhalter might still throw in there. Walker Zimmerman was on the list. Now the other one is Christian Roldan. What the hell is Christian Roldan doing on this list, on this roster? Where's Julian Green? Julian Green is more creative than a Christian Roldan. We saw Christian Roldan in the Gold Cup. We saw him we saw him wide. We saw him inside, and the guy was getting overpowered. Tossed around by Martinique. Tossed around by, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not upset. I'm surprised. Christian Roldan. I mean, I expected to see Sebastian Lletget in here, guys, but Christian Roldan, that definitely caught me by surprise. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what he does. I highly doubt that he'll even play, but if he does, then we'll see what he does then. But aside from that, midfielder looks solid. Now, this is where we start getting into the fun part, guys. This is where we start getting into the exciting part, the forwards. And he brought 8 of them. He brought Brendan Aronson, who in my opinion has been doing a great job at his club currently. Definitely a star in the making. Deserves a call up, and I'm glad to see this kid on the list. Konrad de la Fuente, man. I said that he was going to surprise us with this call up. I predicted this pick. Check my last video. I said he's going to surprise us with Konrad de la Fuente. He's done too much. This kid has done too much for Marseille ever since moving from Barcelona to Marseille. He's been on a tear. Notching assists, notching goals, notching debuts, notching player of the week at the League One. He looks amazing, and I'm glad to see him on here because this kid is a talent. This kid is a type of player that can change a game for you. He has that type of talent, so I'm glad to see him on here. I'm glad to see that Berhalter definitely took Konrad's hard work into consideration and called him up. I like it. Jordan Pfolk, there's a lot of people, in my opinion, that are going to be very upset with Matthew Hoppe not being on here. And I think Pfolk is actually taking Hoppe's position. Pfolk's been doing okay for young boys, but in my opinion, I think Hoppe has done more. Hoppe definitely did more in the Gold Cup. Just that swagger, that mentality, that attitude that fires other players up. That's what I think. And bringing that type of mentality in, that type of swagger into your club, into your roster, it changes things because it lights a fire in other players. And that's one of the things that I like about Hoppe. And the reason why I know this is because I've played soccer my whole life. You know, I've played with players that have a fire in them, that have that type of swagger, that mentality, and it rubs off on you. You know, you get that confidence boost. You get that attitude, that swagger. And that's what I'm saying. You know, Hoppe could have definitely brought that to the team. Instead, Berhalter decided to go with the Jordan Pfolk, who is pretty good, pretty serviceable, but overall he's solid. I just would have preferred a Matthew Hoppe, in my opinion, over Pfolk, but it is what it is. This is one of Greg Berhalter's Easter eggs he's tossing at us. So we stole one from Mexico, guys. There was so much turmoil, so much talk about Pepi potentially joining Mexico, potentially joining US. He was torn in between. He was talking about it for 3 to 4 months. Didn't know what he wanted to do. Didn't know who he wanted to play for. Did not know who he wanted to commit for. There was also rumors that Tata Martino in Mexico had offered Pepi a slot in their roster for the World Cup. Not sure exactly if that's 100% true, but that was a rumor. But overall, this kid was torn. He didn't know who he wanted to play for. Obviously, he was born in Texas, was born in El Paso, Texas, to Mexican parents. He was born here in the States, so he was a Mexican American. Obviously, you know how hard that is. It's very tough to make a decision on who you're going to represent, but I'm glad that Berhalter found a way to persuade him. And as a matter of fact, I was making a video. I still might drop that video, but I was making a video. I had a video in the works, currently just editing it. I was about to drop it in a couple days. Basically, I was talking about why I thought Berhalter should even bring Pepi in for a World Cup qualifier window for a couple games, even if Pepi doesn't play, but just to give him a taste of what the USMNT is all about. So this is a positive sign. We're bringing in our own homegrown players. I'm hoping Pepi gets cap-tied in one of these games. Not sure if he can, but I think if you play a competitive match, any competitive match that you play, I think you're cap-tied. But I think there might be some specific rules with any kids under 21 years old, something about them not being cap-tied even if they play 3 games or something like that, 4 games. I'm not sure exactly what the situation is. FIFA changes the rules every single damn hour, basically, it seems like it. But yes, in my opinion, up to my knowledge, I think if Pepi plays 1 game for us in any competitive match, I think he's cap-tied. So this is exciting, guys. We're potentially adding another solid striker, solid clinical poacher, finisher into our 9 pool. So Pepi, congratulations and welcome to the USMNT. So Christian Pulisic, I didn't even know if he was going to be on the roster. I had a feeling he was. I mean, he's Captain America, bro. We can't start our World Cup qualifiers without our captain. There's just no way. God was not going to allow it, and God didn't allow it. It seems like Christian will be available. He did contract COVID this past week. There was speculation that the protocols from Europe weren't going to line up with the protocols here at the States, and it was going to cause a big dilemma, basically causing Pulisic not to be able to play for us in this World Cup qualifier window. But it seems like he's here. We still got to keep an eye on those. I think it's the Premier League and the La Liga, or I forgot what leagues are not allowing their players to come and take action in the World Cup qualifiers. I think for sure it is the Premier League where they're not allowing their players to leave the current club to play for their international club, which is stupid in my opinion, because I think that it's a FIFA regulation. It's a FIFA rule that if there is a FIFA date, clubs are required to allow their top players or their players, if they've been selected by the international team coach, to come in for camp. But for some reason, I'm not sure why these teams are acting stupid right now. I mean, hopefully it pans out. Hopefully he starts for us and he's ready to go when we take off in El Salvador. Gio Reyna, there was some speculation that potentially he was injured. There was an injury revolving around him, something like that, but it seems like everything's okay. He is on the list, and I'm glad to see Gio Reyna on here. I really am. Josh Sargent, I mean, in my opinion, he's going to be our starting number 9. He's definitely taking those steps in his development, was tearing it up this past preseason for Werder Bremen. Obviously, that led to a move to the Premier League, which now he's playing at Norwich, and just recently had 2 goals for them. So he's obviously clicking there and gelling nicely and showing that he's definitely taking those developmental steps as a solid striker. So that's why, I mean, in my opinion, I think he's going to be our starting striker for us, our starting number 9. Definitely deserves it. And congratulations on the call-up, man. He looks good. And we're going to finish off this 26-man roster with Tim Weah. I'm glad Berhalter took him into consideration, brought him in. Isn't currently starting for us, but obviously there's a lot of talent in front of him. You got Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Konrad, who's coming up, and Brandon Aronson is coming up. But still, Tim Weah, man, he's the type of player who can bend and break a back line. His speed is not matched by anybody in this team. Nobody is as fast as Tim Weah. In my opinion, probably the only player in the CONCACAF that could probably keep up with Tim Weah is Alphonso Davies. He's that fast. Tim Weah is serviceable. He's the type of player you could just plug in against Honduras. God forbid a Gio Reyna or Pulisic can't go, whether they're, God forbid injured or they're just tired, they're taking a rest day. You could plug him in there and we won't miss a beat. He'll create for you, he'll score for you, and he'll definitely cause some trouble in that back line for you. So Tim Weah, I'm glad to see this type of speed incorporated into this roster. Let me just repeat the 26-man roster here, so just in case you missed anything, okay? So we have Ethan Horvath, Zach Steffen, and Matt Turner. That's our goalkeeper position. Defenders, George Bello, John Brooks, Serginho Dest, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, James Sands, DeAndre Yedlin, Walker Zimmerman. Midfielders, Kellen Acosta, Tyler Adams, Sebastian Lletget, Weston McKennie, Christian Roldan. And forwards, Brandon Aronson, Konrad de la Fuente, Jordan Pfolk, Ricardo Pepi, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Josh Sargent, and Tim Weah. We hit on 20 out of 26 players. So yes, our Berhalter hat was tight on and our Berhalter socks were definitely tight. Overall, I think Berhalter did a great job. You know, brought in 26 more than capable players. Obviously, some of the best players we have in our pool. Some players weren't available for injuries. Some weren't called in for some reason. But overall, I think he did a great job. And up to this date, Berhalter's done enough to win trust. So let's see what he does. Let's see what team he puts forward. We still need to see what starting 11 he puts forward against El Salvador, and if that team meshes, clicks, gels correctly, all that stuff. So we'll keep that into consideration as well. But overall, guys, I like the roster. I like the 26-man roster. We hit on 20 out of 26 players. What do you guys think? Do you think we did a good job? Do you guys like Berhalter's roster? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to give Berhalter a pass on Roldan. Roldan obviously shouldn't even be on this list, but to Berhalter's defense, Musa's injured, currently still coming back to full strength, not currently 100% yet, suffered an ankle injury a couple weeks back. So in my opinion, I think if Musa was 100%, I think Berhalter would have incorporated him for this World Cup qualifier window. But since he wasn't, obviously he had to lean on a player like Roldan. That's what I think. So I'm going to give Berhalter a pass on this Roldan selection. But I'm glad we're bringing in Ricardo Pepi, man. I'm glad we're going to potentially cap tie this kid. Not sure if we can cap tie him. Like I said, there's still a lot of speculation on FIFA rules, but up to my knowledge, I think if he plays once, he's ours. That'd be a solid punch to Mexico. Counter punch, since Julian Araujo potentially might be leaning to them. Now there's rumors that he might not. I don't know. There's a lot of clusterfuck with Julian. He doesn't even know what he wants. So hey, make up your mind, but we're definitely taking one for Mexico, and I'm glad it's Pepi. I'm very surprised with Chris Richards being left off in potential favor for Walker Zimmerman, but it is what it is, guys. Berhalter is Berhalter. He does what he does. What he's doing, though, he's pulling out results, and that's what matters. His selections might be sus, but we know that this guy is definitely churning out results for us. Do you guys like Berhalter's roster? Let me know in the comment section down below.